Hello, myself only. Amazon account and after 2 days, the big earthquake is going to happen. So in this, basically, we talked about lots of things about many data. Basically, in this, basically, one of the person told that Sunil, do your government basically or the any of the technological company basically that like basically TCS, Infosys, they group basically know this that from Canada one land is there basically in Canada there is one land basically which is I think of 1 or 2 kilometer from that land basically inside the land basically from the inside the land basically from inside the land the power is coming of computer basically. If you take power other than that land then your India software will get end. So this was very dangerous statement basically which was given by one of the satellite person basically. He told that yeah that is one of the earth planet people were told that basically that is how basically possible yeah basically because he told that basically your projects are connected with that land basically. So that was very dangerous statement basically. So project is connected with that land that is basically no strange basically. That answer basically was literally strange basically. So the people who are into the business development, who are basically into the analysis, who are basically telling that basically we are the base of software industry project design basically. So they are telling that basically we have the data of that land basically. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the software industries are connected. So you can say that it's a huge dependency. Basically. If that Canada land will get end, where most of Khalistani people basically are staying of the India, then entire software industry will get end of India. It will not end basically. You can take the data basically from any power supply, but the entire mapping basically which is done long before that will end. That means 800 computer basically will get end. That also you can say because 800 computer is designed on the base of that land basically. So that land ended, 800 computer ended. So you can say that basically the biggest business loss basically will be this. If in future basically anything will happen. So one of the person told that where is that land here basically. So one of the person told that but the we basically never thought that basically the value of land is up to this level basically. 800 crore computer will get end just within second. So which kind of land is that here in Canada? Because when computer was launched in India, that time the first power supply which was given by Canada land basically. And why Canada land has given the land supply? There might be some reason, right? There might be some reason that they used Canada because in Canada land basically, lots of people basically are staying who actually created this 90,000 collection money software, and they basically gets big level of post office. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the stuff basically are connected, and this everything is done basically. That is the main thing. And India basically has given 800 crore computer to Canada. Given the computer means by default basically it's like that only. You have given the control of computer to Canada basically. So they can do anything with it, but they will not do anything with it because they know that basically from this land area only basically Canada basically is getting the money basically. Canada basically is giving the power supply to that India basically that is 800 crore computers. So it's a bread and butter of Canada basically. Previously Canada was there basically. You just see. Previously, before computer basically launched in India, Canada value was there. It was value was there basically. But now basically it's a high tech value. The people basically die for go to Canada basically. But it's a huge risk factor. Basically. By chance, assume that basically that land basically is not containing nothing basically. It's a empty land. But 1% to the up to what level basically the land can be empty? Because one day you have to do creation basically in that land. That is the rule of the Earth planet. That is the rule of the Earth planet. Just read. So 1% of the we basically never thought up to this level yet. But India Prime Minister basically was connected that time when the first computer was launched, and that was Rajiv Gandhi. So Rajiv Gandhi launched the computer of India. So that will be 850 crore computers. So 1% told that here basically this is very strange thing basically. Yeah? It's not strange basically, it's very dangerous thing. Because the land data basically is the source of the software basically. That is the zoology department basically. Zoology department, lots of people says that ये तो कैसा department है? But it is the very dangerous department basically. Because you are giving the power supply data to software company. So the base of software basically is zoology department giving the data. That is basically BSc science. And MSc is also basically there. I think. So that basically we have almost discussed basically. But here the few things basically which were not discussed that is by chance basically in future basically India thought that basically Canada basically is one option basically, but we have to create another option also basically of 800 computer. So the 850 computer basically will be worthless or basically there would be some technique basically. When basically do you know basically there was one problem basically which came basically that was D2K date basically when 2000 basically year came basically that time basically that double zero was taking basically. So that was actually one error basically. But that error was solved. Lots of people say that entire computer will get and lots of thing will get and but that has happened basically. All software basically need to change everything. So nothing basically happened. So nothing anything basically has happened. Nothing has happened basically. So that time also problem basically was solved because you can't depend on one basically. But it's a huge process. Basically. It's a huge process. It might possible that in this basically if you are trying to connect to the computers from the other land, it will work basically. But the energy which is supposed to generate basically, that will not generate in the environment. If that will not generate, then basically it will a big issue basically will happen. Big earthquake, I don't know what basically is going to happen. Because each and every environment are also connected with the computers. You will not able to believe it. For example, thousand building basically which I have talked, that is connected with the Microsoft Energy. And Microsoft Energy is what basically? That is computer basically. So it's a huge process basically. 800 computer basically. Lots of people was telling that basically D2K problem basically came. In this basically entire computer will get changed. But nobody has changed that. No, Unix has done basically. Nobody. Linux that time basically was not there. That time basically was there, but it was only in European country. Basically. Unix also faced with the problem basically. But they were not taking. I think the Unix operating system basically was not connected with the D2K error. Only I think some operating system like Windows and some Macintosh, Apple basically. That time Apple basically was there. That group basically came problem. But Unix also basically faced some problem basically because lots of programming was connected with that D2K. data. So one of the person told that if problem is there, then the solution is also there. If problem is there, then the solution is also there. Basically. So this Canada basically is problem. Canada has created as a problem. But one of the person told that one person in government basically is connected with that person. Basically. Then why basically you are worrying? But on the base of one person basically, 850 crore computer. So one of the person told that this is actually one design basically. This is actually one design basically that also you can say. The design basically of the circuits basically. The design of the chip basically. So exactly basically this is also one design basically. So one person told that. So basically do you know chip is there, then the circuits are basically there. That are connected with the land basically. Land design. For example, city, Surat, Ahmedabad, then Mumbai, then the Bangalore. This city basically is one design. Some basically technology somebody has created. Some energy basically somebody has created. So one person told that we will create one chip basically according to this design, according to this energy. So this is correct or basically this is wrong. This is 100% correct. So all the chip basically are designed on the base of land areas. Land areas design. Vadodara to Surat, Surat to Ahmedabad, Ahmedabad to Bharuch, Bharuch to Mumbai. So that is one design basically. So on the base of that, basically, some one person told that basically this is basically one energy basically. So they this need to remember basically. So they created one chip basically, and they on the base of that chip basically, one computer model also basically was created by set of computer companies. And in that area basically this computer only will work, and power supply is coming from Canada. So it's not a big dangerous thing basically which is mapped and which is already created. That is the main thing. So see the huge dependency. It's a very dangerous dependency. So one person told that see the chain basically you see. One person told that Vadodara, Bharuch, Surat, Mumbai, then Valsad, Ahmedabad. Like this basically some energies are connecting here to there, here to there, here to there. So one person told that we will create one chip. In that chip basically we will create one model of the computer. So I have seen that basically 12 companies basically created one model basically on the base of this chip basically. And this chip is connected with these cities and these states. So whenever basically the computer basically are sent to these states, they are sent on the base of this chip basically. And that chip basically is designed on the base of that power supply data basically. So you can just imagine basically how most dangerous country is Canada. Even the chip which is basically which is getting designed, that data is also coming from power supply company. That is basically the Canada, one of the land. So one of the person told that so it's very dangerous thing basically of the land. So one person told that the nowadays basically the only empty land are basically used in the power supply or basically field land are also used. Field land means buildings are created, malls are created, commercial complex are created. They are also basically using as a power supply. That's very dangerous thing. Basically. So one person told that basically you need to check here basically. But in one day basically you have to use that also. Why? Because if the land is empty, You will take that power supply data for certain time basically. After that, basically, it will convert to cancer basically. But in the field land basically, if you will take the data, then mostly cancer basically disease will spread very rare basically. So one person told that why basically it's like that. There might be some reason basically why it's like that basically. So one person told that here basically when power supply is coming data basically when the power supply data is coming, when power supply data is basically coming, when power supply data basically is coming, that time basically the human body's energies are also basically taken. So in that basically technology, that's basically is one methodology basically also you can say. You can give this for example in IT industry basically in project management basically the agile methodology is there, waterfall methodology is there. So exactly basically this has converted into methodology. Basically. You can currently basically it has not converted, but this has to convert into methodology. Basically. Empty land methodology, then space field land methodology. From that basically the power supply data for the computers are taken. Here basically I have taken the example of Canada basically. That Canada basically is giving the power supply. So it's entire dependency to India basically. So in future basically if India basically will jump into war basically and they are basically taking they are finishing relationship with Canada basically, then it will be huge. So that's why basically the person who have a good knowledge of everything basically he only must rule the India country basically. He only must rule the India country because you are playing with 850 crore computers. If you don't have this information and then basically by chance basically you break the relationship with Canada, then what is this thing basically going to happen basically to you? But they will not do bad basically. Why? Because their bread and butter basically is coming from India basically. So they are not going to spoil that. Basically. But here the main thing is Canada basically will not government will not spoil, the public will spoil. Basically. And that basically the governments basically are taking care of the public. Basically. And they basically have the control of public. Why? Because they have issued the visa. That is the thing. I will take one example. One of the person told Sunil basically I will take one example. One person basically was there in Bangalore. He was applying basically in USA. He was not getting the visa basically. When he inquired basically internal detail basically, that time somebody told that basically you had done something bad in that company basically. Bad means his manager basically who was contacting his manager basically where basically he was reporting, he actually done some bad to his passport number. Because the software company have given the full authority basically, you will not able to delete. So they can do anything. He basically some done some problematic. He basically told that basically he's a suspicious person basically. So you have to take care of that person basically. So he converted into suspicious person basically. The normal person basically who is basically don't know about terrorism, this everything basically. He connected to suspicious basically. Suspicious means in suspicious basically one terrorist is, suspicion is also basically there. So just for one ego basically, that manager basically spoiled that person basically life. Whenever basically he was applying, he was not getting the job basically. Not getting the job means he was not getting the visa basically. So you can just imagine, just So one person told that मतलब ये मतलब really basically this is correct or basically this is wrong. So one person told that check it basically or if you have doubt basically then check it. Because one day you have to check basically this. Because this has never practically checked basically. Entire computer of India basically gets shut down just within 1 second that nobody has checked basically after the power supply is coming from Canada. So one day you have to do that checking basically. That you have to. If you will not do, then satellite group will do it. But that will basically create lots of problems. Instead of that, Earth planet only basically supposed to check them. But in that basically lots of processes are ongoing. That happens 24 hours. That also basically you have to stop for 1 or 2 minutes. It's just a 1 or 2 minute. In that basically not a single transaction is supposed to happen. That is the main thing. Or basically transaction also basically how it will happen. Computer will get off, but just that basically when computer is getting off, that time basically the transactions are ongoing, and that time the transaction might be in crore basically more than 1 crore. So that basically will create problem. That will create problem. So one person told that why basically this checking is must, because it might possible that land might be giving some cancer data also basically might be possible, because power supply basically keeps on giving the power supply data. The land will keeps on giving the power supply data. It will never end. That data will never end basically. That will never end basically. That will never end basically. One person told that basically, do you know basically you have a head chakkar basically. Doctor told that basically you have a head cancer basically. And that was planned basically in childhood only. Basically. Somebody basically group has given you some poison basically. In that basically because you are Hindu, that's why basically somebody has given poison. I will take one more example. Just a minute. One person told that here basically one person. I will take just a minute. One Hindu person basically is not getting job basically. He is sitting at home basically, and no Hindu group is basically helping. But if one Muslim person basically sitting at home, he gets immediately basically gets a job. So this is major difference between Hindu and Muslim. So one person told that who are Hindus basically. So instead of that, basically change the caste basically. That is better basically. Because if Hindus basically are like this, then changing the caste is the best option basically. But the Muslim population are also basically decreased 20% just within 1 year. So I assume that basically 100 crore population was there. Now it is 80 crore. So Muslim people basically might be knowing this basically. It's not like that basically it's not knowing basically. They might be knowing this basically. That 20 crore population basically has reduced of Muslim basically. Of Muslim. of Muslim population of Muslim population. So here basically we are not going into religion wise. Otherwise, lots of problem will start. So one of the person told that, but this is fact basically. This is a fact basically. Your Hindu people only basically is going to create problem to you. For example, you are doing Hanumanji fast. That Hanuman group will basically going to create damage, create problem to you. Sri Ram group is only basically going to create problem to you. That group only basically going to create problem to you. So one person told that there is some problem in Hindu caste basically. That's why basically lots of people basically are leaving from Hindu. So one person told that basically is there problem in the god basically, Hindu gods. Is it problem in Hindu god basically? That is also possible, na, basically. Hindu god group basically. That is also possible because 10 percentage population basically of Hindu, they have converted their caste from Hindu to some other caste. There might be some problem basically, right? Without problem basically nobody change their caste basically. Nobody changes their caste basically. Nobody changes their caste. So few people tell that basically in Hindu basically Hindus are only creating the problem. For example, one person basically has done 35 years of fasting of Hanumanji. Then Ram temple and Hanuman temple people basically will create problem to him. Basically. No other is required basically. है. दुश्मनों की जरूरत ही नहीं है. दुश्मन अंदर ही है. अंदर means within Hindu caste only. That are Sri Ram temple and Ram temple. Followers that you're getting, but also the amount of money that you're making. These are the same. So you can just imagine basically. From getting started in my friend's high school bedroom to being worth multiple seven figures, or what took this creator right here from hating his 9 to 5, struggling at his 9 to 5, to starting an Instagram account about something he was passionate about, and being able to gain a little bit of followers and make over $10,000. This is on advertising basically. When song was playing it. So see, first basically listen this advertising. Make sure that you're implementing the strategies that I share with you in this video in order to monetize your Instagram account. Now, as we go through the strategies that you could be using to monetize your Instagram, I do want to warn you. I'm going to start with the one that is it's a YouTube video. And the last one is going to be by far my most favorite. So they keep on giving advertising. Sponsorship revenue. A lot of you guys want to get sponsors. You think that sponsors are going to completely change your life, and that might be true, but more likely than not, it's actually not going to be true because all sponsors are really going to do is try to take advantage of you. For example, if you do a sponsorship deal with somebody, guess what? So if, within any video basically there are, if the video is of 1 hour, then basically 20 minutes will be advertising. This is also same like basically if you are watching any serial basically of half an hour, that 15 minutes is of advertising because they are earning money from that advertising only. Every single time that you post on Instagram, if you implement that strategy, I only recommend doing sponsorship deals that are for a product or for a service that you actually use or that you know your audience can actually use. I see so many small accounts mess this up. They start to take brand deals for things that have absolutely nothing to do with what their audience is interested in, and it tanks their engagement, and it isn't helpful for the audience, and it's not helpful for the brand either because they're just not going to enter a long-term partnership with you. The only way that I think sponsorships make sense is if it is something that is very perfectly aligned with your audience, with your brand. It's something that you can. Let's basically complete this advertising. How you use it so that you're actually solving a problem for your audience as opposed to just pitching something to them. And ideally, it's going to be something that you can enter a long-term contract. Because if you're not entering a long-term contract, you're going to have to constantly find new sponsorship deals, and this could become really annoying on months that you can't find sponsorship deals, but now you have bills to pay and you have no money coming in.
Now, this brings us to method number two, which is affiliate marketing. I want you to think about what tools, what services is your audience already using, and then I want you to strike affiliate deals with those things for two reasons. Maybe you can find something that people are already using. For example, Nick right here, who I mentioned earlier in the video, he's been able to implement an affiliate offer into the thing that he actually sells. So he says credit repair, and people need to sign up to find out what their credit score is or what negative things they have against it. So guess what he did? Signed an affiliate deal with somebody that offers that. What services, what tools is your audience already using so that you could begin to implement those things into your content and they know what you're thinking right now. How on earth am I going to be able to do that if I only get one link in my bio or just a few links in my bio? And the easiest way for you to be able to do that is to use today's video sponsor, ManyChat. They're a Meta certified partner, but in addition to that, they allow you to monetize your Instagram without you losing engagement. I see so many creators tell people to go to their link in the bio and they don't understand that it actually crushes the amount of views that they get. Instead, what you should be doing is using ManyChat's automation DM feature, and guess what this is going to do? Now you can say within your video to comment below a certain word. When somebody comments that, they'll automatically get DM'd, and they can get DM'd the link to your affiliate offer. You can answer any questions that they have. This is going to increase the amount of people that actually end up converting. It's going to increase the engagement that you're getting, and it's going to make selling on Instagram way easier. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below to learn more.
See, there is one another ad also.
આ ઉનાળામાં ઘરે બેસી જુઓ 3 સુપરહિટ બ્લોકબસ્ટર ફિલ્મો જલ્દીથી ડાઉનલોડ કરો શેમારુબી એપ.
So one person told that that land is the main thing. Basically. If that land ended, 850 computer basically got ended. But this will never happen. Have you seen ever the land got disappear basically? In your entire life basically, have you seen this type of activities that, for example, I am sitting here, that basically land suddenly got disappear from the planet only. That is possible basically. That only happens in movie basically. In real basically, you have never seen this type of thing basically. That you are sitting there and suddenly basically entire land basically got disappeared. That only you basically can see in movie basically. So that kind of magical thing will never happen in real life. Real life means the Canada get 2 kilometer land area will get disappear. That is not possible. That is not possible. Just saying. So one of the person told that the land will never get disappeared. Why? Because the land is created up to that level basically that land will never get disappear. Why? Because the creation is up to done up to that level basically. Then basically how the land will get disappear basically. Have you ever seen basically the land gets break basically. It gets divided into two parts, little bit basically hole creates, that basically happens. But entire land basically gets disappear. That basically happens very rare. So just a minute, I will tell one example. What actually I want to say.
survival of your business. I understand that sometimes the business runs into Jackson's former wife, London. Oliver Platt as Carl fires Haviland for a change.
I'm talking about this type of activities basically, which happen. Just in this movie, basically, it's a 2012 movie. Basically, there is one movie named basically 2012. People were telling that basically in 2012 the world end will start. Sorry, the world will end basically. That basically they are not start basically. In this basically, lots of land basically get disappear basically. So that type of thing basically will happen in only movie basically. जो फिल्में में होता है वो हूबहू नहीं होगा. So this only happens in movie basically. This type of thing basically only happens in movie basically. Real life basically that is not possible. Have you ever seen basically you are walking basically in the road basically suddenly the land basically get disappeared basically. The buildings basically got disappeared. That basically only happens in movie basically. Yeah. So the power supply basically which is coming from Canada basically it will not disappear basically. So the land will be always there basically. And Canada basically have got full authority basically. They can do anything basically. That authorities also basically got to Canada. They can do anything. They can do blacklist any of the passport numbers. They basically can ban any one person employee ID. That is also possible, no? Because one person basically, for example, one person basically is doing job basically. He started his career. So one universe employee number is given to him basically, so that basically he can be trackable, and this creates very dangerous thing also because that person will ban that employee number only. So any of the company basically will not give him a call basically. Why? Because that employee number is only blocked. So up to that level, Canada Group has got the power basically. So that land basically will 100% will exist basically. That I am telling you basically. It will not disappear basically. 100%. So just a moment. So you can just imagine basically how the creation basically has happened, and this everything is done basically. This everything is done. So assume that basically today world will end. The real basically world will end or not end today. So what will be the condition of softwares basically? That will be that land only. No, basically. That land basically is giving the power supply to 850 computers of India basically. Like this, whole world is getting power supply to the computer, and that land basically are not Canada. For example, in America, basically there are around 750 computers, 750 crore computers. So they are getting power supply from different land, and basically there might be many countries basically their computers basically power supply get might be getting from India land also. So anything is possible basically in this world basically. But India might be knowing this. Why? But here the question is, when the prime minister basically gets changed, the other prime minister who comes basically, he might not be having this all information basically. He might not be having, basically. He's not a god basically. That he will get the each and every information basically. This was done by that prime minister. That is here basically in India. It was Rajiv Gandhi. So he has done that. But he might have created documents basically. In that basically everything basically, that is the admin department basically of the prime minister. So power supply change is not a small process. It's a huge process. So power supply chain will be this only. But here the question is one only. Assume that basically today world will end. Then what is going to happen? Anything is going to happen. By chance, I will take one scenario. India is getting. Assume that basically India is getting power supply from India. Computers basically are getting power supply from Canada. Canada is basically are getting power supply from Europe. Europe are getting power supply data from USA. This is the chain. India, Canada, Europe, and USA. So this can be toggled. Toggled means India can get the power supply from USA. That kind of dynamic project system basically can India create. Means that is basically the chip basically. Dynamic chip basically. So in this world basically, total land basically exists which is giving the power supply that can be shifted basically from here to here, there to there. If that is possible, then basically the problem will solve basically. But that will take time basically. But it is possible basically. That is basically just chip creation and the data collection only. And that basically, if we are basically thinking up to this level, then this might have developed long before basically. This type of activity basically might have done long before. This type of activity basically might have done long before basically. So one of the person told that this type of activity which is we are talking basically, the ideas we are talking, if one normal person like me basically is thinking up to this level, then this might have created long before. So India land will get, sorry, India computers will get power supply from USA. USA will get power supply from Canada. But here the question is how that is going to handle it. Because entire land data to capture in one chip basically that is possible basically. The practical you just see basically. Is that possible? Canada basically is giving the power supply from that land that basically they have captured in the chip basically. That this chip is going to get power supply from Canada basically. That they have captured. But here the main thing is it possible that they can basically give the data of USA, America, Canada, Europe? Canada basically India already have it. Practically basically it is impossible task. Mission Impossible. There is one movie, no? Basically. It's like that basically. But practically it is not possible basically. But if this will not be done basically, then in future basically the chain which is going to connect them basically in universe, that will connect 100%. That chain would be last day of world. That is India computer, Canada, Canada to the area. One person told that whether basically Sunil you are not sitting at computer or basically that time you are not using the computer, then also no issue, you are staying in the earth planet only, that's all basically. So staying in earth planet also basically have many meaning basically. Staying in Earth planet, that means you are connected with all technologies basically. Few people told that basically we have created password system, basically user ID password. For example, mobile energy will not connect to you. According to that, basically we have created technologies basically. That is the energies which is going to ask user ID and password. If we will not have the user ID and password in the energy, that is the body. For example, I am myself basically I have one body, right? This body basically. There is one mobile energy which is connecting to me, but that will not enter to my body. Why? Because it's a password protected energy basically. So in that basically, if that mobile group basically are trying to send him them data, their data, for example, SMS data is there. No, basically. Whenever you send the SMS, that time basically your body basically gets that SMS data. Basically. That sometimes basically damage your head, damage your leg, damage your back. Everything basically gets damaged sometimes. Basically. But that basically people don't do basically. Why? Because one day they only have to suffer. Whatever things basically they are going to do, one day they are only going to suffer it. So that's why basically the people basically don't do nowadays. Basically, it's like that. So nowadays, basically, the people don't do this type of activity. So here, basically, the thing basically which we are discussing about the power supply, that has connected to big issue also and big issues problem also. As in that basically computers are basically, for example, they are in this world basically there are around um, 20, 30, 55,000 crore computers in this world basically. Till now they have created. They have destroyed also everything. So entire count is 55,000 crore in world basically. So they have got the power supply from many land basically, right? So according to that only the entire chip circuit basically has created. Chip circuit which has created, that has created on the base of that land only basically. That land data basically. But that land chip basically can't change. Why? Because Canada basically is giving power supply data. That basically is going to change. No basically. Why? Because it's a static basically. Static data basically. That's a fix basically. If you can write down in any of the variable basically that Canada power supply. Power supply variable equal to what basically? Which country? Canada basically. So one person told that how basically this everything is possible basically. But the how they are managing the stuff here basically, it's not basically so easy basically, or it's a very tough basically. Lots of people says that professional group basically for them basically it's very easy, but it's not so easy here basically. It's not so easy basically to create the stuff basically. It's not a easy task basically to create the stuff basically. So one person told that it's not easy basically. So one person told that there are 55,000 crore computers basically which are created and they have got the power supply. I will take one matrix basically that would be good. 55,000 power supply, 50,000 computers basically, total basically created till now basically. They are getting power supply from around 3 lakh land data basically. Like Canada is one land, 2 kilometers. That is one land. Like this USA have a certain level of land. Like this 3 lakh land basically are there. They are giving the power supply. So one person told that 3 lakh multiply by 3 lakh. That means the combination of total power supply data. Right. After that, basically, maximum basically will be this. Up to this level only basically you can go, because the number basically supports this much only basically. Otherwise, basically, it will go to hexa basically, and that which will convert. You have to give the conversion. Lots of things basically comes into the picture. So this is one matrix. So you are getting power from of computers, that is a 55,000 crore from this area, that is 3 lakh area. So one person told that basically, so this land basically might be connected with what basically, because how they decided that from this land only basically you have to take the data, that is also question na, basically. That means something basically is connected there, somebody is connected to that land basically. So who might be that basically? These all metrics are basically there. So in next video we are going to discuss about this matrix basically.